Hey, yo, what is good, guys? Welcome back to NextGen Wealth Tips. Today, we're going to tell you guys what is going on with the market and tell you guys my chart prediction. First off, I just want to say we're not looking too bad. We're not looking as bad as we looked yesterday, but Tesla's up a little bit. Nvidia's down just a little bit. We did have a little bit of a buy and a little bit of a sell. We're going to be talking about that a little bit later if you guys are into short-term buys. And we're also going to talk about some long-term buys too. But with that being said, let's get the heat map out of here. Let's talk about some stocks. So first off, I want to talk about some top gainers real quick because these are some stocks you want to look at even when we're in the dying market. That being said, we got eBay up almost 10%. We got some other stocks, pharmaceutical stock up 16%, which is insane. But what I also want to look at is the top daily losers because we got two stocks I want to talk about also. SoundHound AI is down 16%, and Ion Q. This is a stock that I talked about before, but I want to kind of talk about it more and why it's dropping and why I'm kind of bearish on it now. But it's down 40%, which is insane. That's almost half of the stock price. With that being said, we're going to start with some Ion Q. So basically, NVIDIA kind of says that their tech is 15 to 30 years away, which this shows investors that it is not a good investment because you don't want to wait that long. With that being said, basically NVIDIA just says that it's decades away and it's not going to be useful anytime soon. It's currently trading at $10, but probably going to see it drop even more. So if you're invested into this, I'm sorry because you probably lost a lot of money today. And also Sound on AI, it dropped. There's not really any news really on it, but at the same time, it dropped like a few dollars. It didn't even drop that much. That being said, I think Sound on AI is still a good stock to invest in. I think they have some deals with NVIDIA. With that being said, with all the AI that's coming out, Sound on AI basically, I mean, it makes sounds basically. It's basically AI voiceover. I'm using it right now, literally. But with that being said, they have deals with NVIDIA and they're probably gonna have deals with upcoming developers. But if you really think about it, like you have a car or something that like like a Tesla that want to talk to you, you can use SoundHound AI. Then they're just gonna get more deals in the future. And I think just wait until it dips honestly over because we're kind of in a tech sell-off anyway. Just wait until it dips over and just buy into it. I think this is a good stock to buy into. I'm not bullish right now, but I think later on once we get a bottomed out, I will be pretty bullish on it. But we did drop a lot today. That being said, I want to talk about some things like future into the market. So basically, with Trump's policies with deportations and tariffs, it can put more pressure on inflation and make any future rate cuts less likely. Recently, we had the job reports, which made the upcoming meeting on, I think it's the 29th or the 30th, have a lower chance of a rate cut, making this recent tech sell off. It kind of fueled it a little bit because I think before, if you looked at the markets yesterday at around 10 a.m., you seen the market dropped when we got those job reports. And basically, it kind of just showed us that we're not really getting a rate cut in this meeting. And with this being said, with more rate cuts getting kind of canceled, it's going to make the market go down even more. So just keep that in mind while investing and just understand that because we might have a even bigger sell off with some news like this. It's not really major, it's not like confirmed news, but it's just how people are feeling. And Trump is trying to use the 1977 law called the International Emergency Economics Power Act. And it basically is like the most rapid use or the most rapid route for basically his tariffs. And with that being said, it can make it more vulnerable for legal challenges and he can actually get sued for it. First off, I want to say I hope everybody in California is safe with the wildfires going on. If you guys have family there, I hope that they're okay. Hope that everything's going to be okay. It might keep on going on for a while as we've seen wildfires happen in the past. So I just want to say I hope everybody's okay. But with that being said, with the stock that is dumping from it right now is Edison International, and they're plummeting because they actually cut like 69,000, but it's 70K here. I think the real number is 69,000. Everybody likes that number. But they basically were affected by the outages because they had to basically cut off people's electricity from this fire. So with that being said, it's probably going to have more people out of electricity in the future, and the stock is just dumping. So if you want like a stock that's dumping, or if you want to play some put options, or just play some shorts on some stock, this is a good stock. But if you guys are investing in this energy sector, just make sure that you are being very careful with it. I mean, long term, it's probably going to go back up, but just right now, with what's going on, it's going to keep dumping. So basically, there is a lawsuit initiated by the police and the fire retirement system of Detroit, accusing directors like Chair, I'm not going to try to pronounce his name, I'm not going to lie, but James and another person for getting overcompensated. And recently it has been approved. for them to basically pay the money back. So the Delaware court approved the settlement requiring Tesla directors to return $919 million in cash and stock options to the company, addressing the excessive compensation between 2017 and 2020. So basically, they had like 2077 million in cash and 459 million in stocks, and then they also had some options. I think options worth 184 million, which is insane. But basically, they gave away stock, or they gave away shares, I guess. And then you guys know when the Tesla kind of spiked, they kind of made a lot of money off of that. So this is one thing that kind of came across. I don't know if it's really going to affect Tesla that much. Like, I feel like it's a positive news thing for Tesla because they're getting the money back. But at the same time, I just wanted to include that. So basically, another thing with the overall market and stuff like that, the labor market is saying it is stable and is basically slowing for now. But we show a stable job market and low layoffs and low quits. With that being said, November, we did have an increase to the highest level since May 2023. But this kind of shows that we will be getting lower rate cuts later on this year if it keeps on becoming stable. So, with that being said, if we don't have that many rate cuts, the market kind of dips out, like investors start selling. So that's kind of what we're in right now. So basically, I mean, this is good for the country, though. I'm not gonna lie. But another bad thing that is going on, we have been experiencing a big winter storm, and I hope everybody is okay. But with that being said, it is grounding flights and canceling flights, and right now it is heading for Texas and is already grounding flights in Texas. With that being said, this is just news for people that have any airline companies or invested in any airline companies. So keep this in mind for future with the storm. You might be able to play some shorts, but I want to talk about the tech sell-off that we're going into. Basically, we're in a big tech sell-off ever since basically the rate cuts have been getting like lowered basically. So basically, investors are worried about the economic data, and with that, we are seeing a big sell-off in tech stocks right now. We got the SPY down 1%, we got the Dow Jones down 0.42, and we're just consistently dropping. I'm going to show that a little bit later on when we get to the chart section. And last but not least, we got Apple, because Apple has been dying. Apple has been having some bad news recently. We did have a recent buy with Apple, but then now we're getting a bunch of sell-offs with Apple. But basically, the new AI isn't so intelligent. So basically, they're giving wrong information with the AI notifications, mainly right now with the BBC News app. They're trying to get it fixed, but Apple basically kind of just said that they're going to just put the notification that it was summarized by Apple Intelligence, but it's kind of just giving like false information and stuff like that. But if you guys have like the Apple AI, it basically just summarizes your text messages, your notifications, and it's just giving some bad summaries basically. With that being said, let's open up the charts. Let's get into it. I cleaned up the charts a little bit. It's not as messy as it was, but basically we're still in this tech sell-off. So I'm going to be giving some bearish plays. We're also going to be giving some bullish plays in case if we do start going up. With that being said, Tesla has been moving pretty decently today. It kind of, so basically, like, with this being said, if you're like a short-term trader, you can make a little bit of money just by playing it short term, basically getting in and getting out really quickly. That's kind of what I did today. I kind of bought a call and then I sold it, and I bought a put like instantly, and then I sold that. I could have held it a little bit longer, but kind of just bought a call put, and then I think it broke the 400 line at one point, and it kind of maintained it, but then the next candle it broke below it. So that's why you should wait a little bit to see if it really breaks the line. But I think key lines to look at next week or Friday, I guess. Tomorrow the stock market is closed, which is going to be on Thursday the 9th. But with that being said, Friday it is open, which is kind of a weird schedule, but we got to deal with it. But some of the key levels that I recommend looking at is 400. 400 is a key level. See if it breaks past the 400. If it breaks past the 400, we can see 410 and maybe test that 420 going to the upside, and then 420 all the way up to the 440, 450, and then 460. But I don't think we're going to be bullish for a while or for a couple of days. So to the downside, it might break past that 400 again and bounce off the 400, and going down, I recommend looking at the 390 level first, and then or 395, and then down to the 390 level, and then looking at that 388 level, and then down to 379. If we get below 379, we can probably see 373. It might bounce off the 373, but if we get below 373, we might be in this territory of 360. I think 360 is going to be the bottom point for Tesla because we kind of hit it before, but I think we might You might see it below that even more, but I think 360 is going to be the lowest point. That might be where you can get in for some call options. That being said, we're going to be looking at Apple. We got a lot of bad news with Apple, so we're going to be looking at it from the downside. The downside, honestly, I'm gonna look at the 240 line. It kind of bounced off it earlier, but look at it going below the 240. With that being said, 240, 239, and then all the way down to 236. And then maybe like the next day, you might see it down to like the 233. I don't think it's going to drop that much, but these are just key levels to look at to see if it breaks. If it breaks past, so you can probably play it until like the 236. Because let's say if it gets to like the 240 line, breaks past the 240, you might see it dying down a little bit more. It might bounce off the 260 line. So these are just key lines to look at. Going back up to the upside, if we do get like a tech buy now, if we go into a bullish trend, I recommend looking at the 243, 244, 245, and then all the way up to the 250. 250 is going to be key. It might bounce off it and it might retest it a little bit, but 250 is a key line that I want to look at, and then 254 to the upside. NVIDIA has been moving a decent amount. You can make some decent money if you can play it right. I bought a call at around, no, not around there. Sorry, it bounced like 138 I think before, and then now it's kind of below a little bit more. But Nvidia has been having a big sell off. We had a big buy, and then with the news and stuff like that coming out with Nvidia, we have a big sell after that, and with the inflation reports. With that being said, I think Nvidia is still a good stock, and we can still see strong growth with this stock. But I think just long term. With that being said, you can still do some short term plays. I actually have a video on Nvidia coming out soon, just with everything that they're doing, and then what they're capable of in the future. So just stay tuned for that. Have your post notifications on. Sorry for the little plug. But with that being said, we are looking pretty bearish today. That being said, I'll be looking at the 137 line. 137 is going to be key, and then all the way down to that 133. It might bounce off that 133, or if we break below that 133, I'll be looking all the way down to the 128 level. With that being said, I don't think it will get all the way down to 128, but if it gets down to 128, I recommend people to buy it at the 120 level. I also would buy it in the low 130s also in the dollar cost average if it drops down below even more. But to the upside, I look at 139. 140 is going to be a key level. And then the next key level, I think it's going to be 142 because it bounced off the 142 a few times. And then upside to the 143.64, 146.67, and then 149.52. And then past that 150 line, and then testing all time highs once again. It bounced off the all-time highs recently and then just dipped a bunch. So be very, very careful getting into this one. Next, we're going to be talking about SPY because SPY has been moving pretty decently. With that being said, I'll look at SPY going down, maybe coming up a little bit and then bouncing down. And then if it does break 588, I'll look at it from 586, 584, 580. 580 might be like the max point where it just bounces up and then we'll see a climb back. But if it bounces below 580, 578, 574, and all the way down to the 570 line. I hope it doesn't get down to 570. I don't think we'll be that down bad in the market, but if it does, I like to say in case, like to tell you in case it goes down that far. But going to the upside, if we do see upside, we might see it bounce down below a little bit more, maybe test that 184 and then bounce. But that being said, going to the upside, I'll look at 590. 590 is going to be key, and I know 591 and 592 are two key levels that I've seen in the past that came up. And then going up, I'll look at 594, 596, and then testing that 600 level once again. And then once it's at 600, 602, and then testing that 609 once again. But with that being said, I don't think we're going to get up this far, but I mean, you never know. We got some chances. With that being said, Bitcoin, we're in a bearish trend now. That we have a big sell-off. We did have a good buy and then a good positive bullish trend going up. We even beat that 100K level or past that 100K level, but then we have a big sell-off. With that being said, to the downside, I'll look at it bouncing from the 91K. Maybe not get below 90K, but it might get below 90K once again. So I recommend looking at that. If it bounces below the 90K, I think we're going to have a big sell-off and everybody's going to have fear in it. So you might see a big sell-off getting down to like 85K or something like that. People are also saying that we're kind of in the season where people are investing in the cheaper coins, and now Bitcoin's going to start dying out and people are going to just invest in the cheaper coins. So just keep that in mind. But with that being said, going back to the upside, I look at 96K, 97K, 98K, and then breaking that 100K once again. And then if it maintains that 102K to maybe 105 and maybe testing some highs. But I look at Bitcoin because I like to look at MSTR, MicroStrategy, because this is a good stock to look at. Basically, I normally look at Bitcoin when I invest into this because it moves with Bitcoin. It has a big holding in Bitcoin. They buy Bitcoin all the time. That's basically where all their profits are coming from right now. Their company kind of has like outdated things, like it's not even like their company doesn't really bring in any of the stock price. But with that being said, Looking at MSTR, I'll look at it going back up to the upside to 360, breaking that 360 to 380. I think around the 360 to 380 will be past the 100K on Bitcoin. So I wanted to test that 400 level once again. We might be able to break that 400 level once again, getting up to the highs. I don't think we're hit 500 unless Bitcoin hits like 120K now, or maybe 110. Just breaks some all time. You need all time highs for Bitcoin for this thing to hit all time highs. So keep that in mind. But with that being said, I just want to say thank you for watching the video. Smash that like button, subscribe if you guys are new. Check out some of those links in the description below. Help me out. I put a lot of time and effort in these videos. All I ask for is a sub, like, and maybe share it with somebody else. Comment down below how much you've made and what tickers you are looking at, and maybe I'll include it in the next video. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys.